Would you get a microchip implant? How to future-proof your business according to Mackenzie and Company, and a special edition of Busy is the New Stupid. These are some of the topics we're going to talk about this week in the CarCast. Welcome to the top 5 data, AI, and analytics post of the week, the Sunday night update where I review, highlight, and recap for you what is hot and what is not in the world of data. And if you like this, as usual, make sure to comment, like, share, use and abuse this content. Speaking of which, if you remember, in these updates, you will get access to a slide deck that has all the references and resources I'm going to refer to today by simply going to my blog. The link is down below, and you can share this content with your friends to make them smarter and make you look smarter as well. I want to thank you for continuing to contribute to this weekly update by tagging me and commenting and liking and sharing some great content. Let's get started with some of the top content this week. The first one is surveys. For a few weeks now, we've been highlighting key surveys. If you remember, last week we talked about artificial intelligence. The week before, we talked about how you organize your analytics teams in order to be successful. This week, I want to highlight my friend's Bernard Marr's survey on microchip implant. Would you get a microchip implant? I responded yes, but there are 6,000 of you that have participated so far, and that's not the majority. There's 2 more days left in order to contribute to the survey, so go on, engage, comment, vote. Let us know what you think. Bernard and I will be doing a LinkedIn Live on January 29th, so let us know through this survey if there's anything you'd like us to talk about in particular, anything you'd like us to discuss. This LinkedIn Live is as much your show as it is ours, so we want to make sure that we continue to use LinkedIn as a platform to connect and learn from each other. Speaking of learning from each other, Mackenzie conducted a research project with some of the best companies in industry, retail, healthcare, manufacturing, and they asked them, what are your bets for 2021 and how are you future-proofing your business? Now, the report is available for free on Mackenzie's sites, and it highlights 9 initiatives that these industry leaders are taking. We don't have time to cover all 9 here, but I at least want to highlight 3 that I think will be particularly important to this community. The first one is these leaders are focused on purpose and identity. 83% of companies picked this one. This is, I'm assuming here, focusing on employee and the why of their business and really being pointy about that. The second one is establishing an ecosystem. 83% of companies picked that one as well. Here I'm assuming the focus is around how to bring value to market and realizing that it's a value chain that includes an entire ecosystem for any business now, right? You can't provide just the entire supply chain of value. You have to partner and be open. But the topic that I think is particularly interesting for data analytics companies or data analytics community members here is that 73% of organizations talked about creating a data-rich platform. This is one of the top initiatives for these leaders. And we've talked about this in the past. We talked about trends like composite applications, applications that are built from the data up, from AI up. And those applications seem to be what leaders are choosing. And I think it's what's going to differentiate the best from the rest. The piece highlights the work of these leaders. One in particular is Netflix, which we've talked about in the past year. They're highlighting something I didn't know, which is their recommender system is actually now the source of 80% of their customers' consumers' patterns. So it really talks about how data is not part of the business. In fact, they closed the report by saying that data is the business. And so it's a very rich, highly recommend this report. If you want to get the Cliff Notes, you can head on over to my blog as well. But take a look at the report if you have time tomorrow, Monday, and some of you are getting that day off. It's a worthwhile read. Now, connected to this theme of data is the business, check out Gartner's Data Analytics Prediction blog by Andrew White. Again, this is a free resource. And the blog contains, I think, I counted 33 predictions. Anyway, a lot of predictions for this year. I want to pick 3 that I think everyone here is going to be interested in. If you're hungry for more, in my blog, I've highlighted 5. So at least you'll get 3 here and then 5 from my blog. And of course, if you want to read Andrew's blog, you'll get all 33. The first one is that by 2024, most organizations will attempt, trust-based data sharing programs, but only 15% of them will succeed in establishing business outcomes, business metrics for it. So clearly this need of sharing data, monetizing data is an important one, but we haven't just yet figured out how to make that happen. Put in comments your thought on that, because there's been a lot of debates over the last year, and it's certainly something we haven't just cracked just yet. The second prediction that I think is important is by 2023, 60% of organizations will pick components from 3 or more analytics solutions to build business applications infused with analytics that connect insights to action. So this is a really important one. Again, going back to this composite application platform, but also connecting the analytics to actual actions. So actions for the consumers of analytics, like we talked about a recommender system earlier from Netflix, is an example of that. And then the third one is by 2024, 70% of organizations will use cloud and cloud-based AI infrastructure to operationalize AI. Now, this is a problem we've had for many years, we still haven't solved just yet, is what is going to make AI a success and something that's operationalized for the enterprise. And this last theme of operationalized AI has been on our mind. My friend Bob Hayes, who is always great throughout the week, shares a lot of great content, I think has found one of the resources that will answer the top 5 reasons for why AI failed. We've seen a lot of these articles before, but this one I think is a good one that you should spend some time reading. It's by eWeek. It's backed up by a lot of great data. And so take a look at it. I don't want to cover too much here. I want you to take a look at it in the blog, because I want to add a special section to our week update, and that one is about New Year resolutions. I know many of you have reached out to me and have asked me, have I read any books on making habits stick? And I have. And in fact, I want to give you kind of my short list on what I found. There has been a lot of books, and one of them is this book here, Hyper Focus. It's a great book by Grace Bailey. This other one is one of my favorite ones, The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg. Many of you must know this book. In fact, you can see here, my daughter bought it for me, but my dog actually ate it. He liked it so much, I guess. And there's other books like Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg, Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I'm putting all these links to these books in my blog, and they're all great. But their message really centers around 3 key pillars that I think if you're thinking about creating great habits for 2021, you should think about. The first one is that small changes actually have a big impact over time. And so in other words, when you're trying to change a habit, don't go too big too fast. Start with something that you can manage and improve upon, and there's a compound effect to your habit change. James Clear has great highlights in some of his videos, and I really want to encourage you to think about that. Don't go too big too fast. The second one is that to change habits, you have to change the habit, but you also have to change the context around it. So habits are created as a result of a cue, basically what happens before the habit is created or enacted. So typically it's a prompt, and also a reward, basically the benefit of achieving this habit, either a good benefit or a bad benefit for you. BJ Frog suggests that for you to change the action prompt. Charles suggests that you build awareness and develop an understanding of the cause of your habit, so you can replace the cause and turn a bad habit into a great one. And this is also something that James Clear calls habit stacking. This idea that once you do something, a prompt, you wake up at a particular time, you enact a particular habit, and so stacking those habits in order to change long-term your habit pattern is an important one. The third big lesson is that willpower actually doesn't work. So we're here almost halfway through January. If you're finding out that, you're having a hard time keeping these resolutions, it's because if you're just using willpower as a way to change your habit, it's just not going to work. And so take a look at my blog. I actually wrote a specific blog just on changing habits because there's just so much content there. If you want to operationalize this and you find these books are hard and you don't have time to read them, I'd suggest you take a look at Stix.com. I'm putting the specific link here in my blog so you can take a look at it. This site was created by my friend Ian Ayres about 11 years ago. I don't know if you know Ian Ayres. He's the author of Super Crunchers. Super Crunchers is a book about why thinking by numbers is the new way to be smart. And I met Ian almost 11 years ago now and went to his house. I remember it was snowy, and we took the train to his house and spent a great evening talking about data, wine, and changing habits. And in fact, I have the videos to prove for that visit. Take a look at the blog and see how he thinks about it. I hope these habits, these resources will help you have a great year, a great week. Stay engaged, be data driven, and I will see you next week.